Hello viewers, and welcome to my YouTube channel. On today's news update, troops from the United States and the Philippines have launched Javelin missiles and fired howitzers to simulate repelling a maritime invasion along the coast of the South China Sea. In a show of force-capping joint war games held in China's maritime backyard, the live-fire exercises were held throughout the week along the shores of the coastal city of Laoag in northern Ilocos Province, the closest mainland Philippine province to China. They capped the largest ever Balakaten, or shoulder-to-shoulder, joint military exercises between U.S. and Philippine troops, cementing a dramatic policy shift that has seen Washington and Manila become close allies. Since Ferdinand Marcos Jr. became president in 2022, tensions have risen amid multiple confrontations between Philippine vessels and the China Coast Guard in the South China Sea. China claims almost the entire area under its 9-dash line, which was rejected by an international tribunal in 2016. While the U.S. and Philippine militaries would not name their adversaries, this year's exercises were concentrated around the northern and western shores of the Philippines, close to the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait. Parts of the drills were also staged in waters outside the Philippines' 19 kilometers 12-mile territorial limit and also outside Manila's exclusive economic zone, which extends for 200 nautical miles, about 370 kilometers. The Philippines and U.S. have a shared vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific. U.S. Marines Lieutenant General Michael Cederholm, commander of the Balakaten Joint Task Force, told reporters on Monday, "It's grounded in the seeking of peaceful solutions. Make no mistake, if there can't be a peaceful solution, we have an obligation to our countries to train together." Ilocos Province lies southeast of China and just south of Taiwan, near areas of the South China Sea that would probably be at the center of any regional conflict over the disputed waters. The U.S. and Philippine militaries fired missiles and used howitzer guns stationed along the shore to sink 5 platoons, standing in for amphibious warships in northern Batanes, an island province just south of Taiwan. U.S. and Philippine forces simulated the recapture of Itbayat, the country's northernmost municipality. The war games elicited a strong response from China, which managed to disrupt at least one live-fire exercise in the South China Sea. The Chinese embassy in Manila did not respond to a request for comment from Al Jazeera. A Chinese warship and 2 other vessels were spotted near Itbayat as the exercises were held, the Philippine Coast Guard said on Wednesday. The ships left after the Coast Guard issued a challenge over the radio. This year's exercises also showcased new U.S. weapons that could be stationed in the Philippines during a conflict. For the first time in the Asia-Pacific, the U.S. military deployed a new mid-range missile launcher, called the Typhoon. From the northern Philippines, it is able to reach targets in Taiwan, along with Chinese bases and infrastructure in the South China Sea and mainland China. It is the first such weapon deployed in the region since the U.S. withdrew in 2019 from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty that barred the development of ground-launched ballistic and cruise missiles with ranges between 500 and 1,500 kilometers. While the Typhoon system was not fired during Balakaten, its deployment now serves to identify launch sites that can be used during a conflict, said Colin Koh, a senior fellow at the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies in Singapore. During wartime, all you need to do is just go straight to these launch sites and you can set it up and fire immediately without further preparation, Koh said. The U.S. and Philippine militaries also used a hovercraft to land a HIMARS missile system on the western island of Palawan, close to contested areas of the South China Sea. Last year, the militaries tried and failed to land a HIMARS system at the main port of Batanes. This year, the U.S. military upgraded the port, along with a warehouse and other military infrastructure, as part of an effort to develop functional seaports to offload equipment and troops. "The longer you stay in the port, the more vulnerable you are," Koh said. "When you are unloading all your equipment and your troops, that is when you are exposed essentially as a sitting duck." Last year, Washington and Manila announced that 4 military bases would be added to the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, allowing U.S. troops to utilize a total of 9 military sites in the Philippines for training, refueling, and other operations. 3 of those bases are in the northern provinces of Cagayan and Isabela, both close to the Luzon Strait running between the Philippines and Taiwan. The increasing presence of military troops in civilian areas has alarmed some civilians, worried their location puts them in the path of any future war between the U.S. and China. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel.